Hi everybody, my name is Lisa, and if we haven't met, let me introduce myself to you. My name is Lisa Sublett, and I am the founder and president of Bleeding Kansas. And so if you're new to the chapters, new to the group, maybe you follow on Facebook page, maybe we haven't had a chance to meet in person yet. Hopefully we will soon. And you can always feel free to message me on Facebook and also message any of your board members. Anytime you have any questions, they're very available, wonderful people. If you haven't got a chance to meet them yet, there's a listing of them in the description on every chapter group. You'll find a listing of who your board members are, and also you'll find a listing for the chapters for each location we have. So if you're in Wichita, we have a Wichita chapter. If you're in Lawrence, we're starting a Lawrence chapter. We have a Topeka chapter. Hayes, Salina, something I'm missing there. I don't know. We have quite a few chapters, and we're getting some more. I think there's people interested in a Manhattan and a Liberal, so we'll have more chapters coming soon. So at the top in the description of any group, you'll see a list of the chapters, a list of your board members, and how to get a hold of us. And so we're available anytime. You should know I hate making videos. No, I really do. And any of my parents and patients will tell you that I don't like to be in front of the camera. I always have the patients in front of the camera because their stories are the ones we want Kansans to hear. I usually really don't have anything that important that needs to be said. I work behind the camera, which is where I like to be, and that keeps me plenty busy. But we have some important things to discuss, and I can't meet with all of you one-on-one, so this is really kind of the best way to do that. And I'll try to keep it really short and not take a lot of your time. But we have some important things going on. I met with the board last night. We have some real concerns about things that are going on, and a lot of you have expressed real concerns about things that are going on. And we really kind of, as a group, need to discuss this and talk about it. And so the board and I, even though they're not here, they're here, are putting out this video. And then we really wanted to start a discussion with you about this, but also a lot of people are just feeling lost in some of the issues going on, and they needed to hear from us. What did Bleeding Kansas, the board, and I, what do we have to say about issues and topics that are going on right now? Well, you know, Bleeding Kansas from the beginning has had one purpose and one mission, and that's patients, 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 patients. We are fighting for patients' rights. We have buried children and we have buried adults in this fight. One of those adults was a lovely woman named Mary, who was our prayer warrior, and she covered us in prayer wherever event we had, and she was so sweet, and she bought our first banners. She believed in our mission. She was very loving and supporting of baby Autumn, and Crystal comes across cards that she wrote and things like that. Anyway, she was a wonderful, beautiful person. And cancer took her, and we promised Mary, she asked us, she made us promise on her deathbed that we would not stop fighting this fight. Now believe me, there's plenty of days we all get so exhausted. I know it's hard because you don't hear from the board a lot, but honestly, we work all day long, and we work really long hours. We put in so much work for Bleeding Kansas, and usually we're working too hard to really do all the updates that we need to do and that kind of thing. But to let you guys know what it is that we're working on, but it's just because we're working so hard. But on those days when it gets so tough and it gets so hard, you know, it's Mary, and it's the other ones we've lost, and the ones that have moved away, and more that are moving away this summer, people that we love and care about very much, who are leaving to go to Colorado, to go to other legal states because they just can't take it anymore. That's what keeps us going, because we see those families ripped apart. We see how much suffering that they have to go on, and it's not necessary. It shouldn't have to be. Nobody should have to move. It's very difficult, and it's so annoying when people say just move. Because for the parents of critically ill children, that entails so much more. They can't just pack their stuff up and go. They have full medical teams that maybe they've worked with for years. You have to replace those medical teams. You have to make sure your child gets the same kind of care. And to move a child, especially who has seizures, I mean, it's just, and then you have families who are blended families or shared custody families, or they're taking care of, elders in their family who are also sick. You just can't move. Not everybody can move. Not everybody can afford to move, and not everybody can afford to live in Colorado. So it's a ridiculous thing that people say to our patients all the time, and it's upsetting. But from the beginning, this is the focus of Bleeding Kansas. These patients, their stories, their suffering, and the laws in Kansas that keep them suffering. The laws in Kansas that keep them dying. That's what we are focused on. And from the beginning, we have said that we will work with everybody and anybody to see that goal achieved. Does that mean that we necessarily, personality-wise, that everybody likes me, or I might like everybody? No, it doesn't. Does it mean we agree on everything? No, it doesn't. But the fact is, the cause is more important than the individuals. And it has to be. I can tell you that the Bleeding Kansas board and the patients who work with us, either they're editors or they're volunteers on the fundraising committee, or they're the keyboard warriors who send out the emails and help us, find stories for the page, whatever it is that they're working on. The cause is first. The patients are first. That's what they're always talking about. That's what they're always thinking about, is the patients and the cause. And it has to be that way. So unity has always been so big for us. From the beginning, BK was a family. We just clicked. Chronic illness is devastating for so many people. They feel so isolated. Usually your self-esteem is bottomed out, and not everyone has supportive families. Some family members don't get chronic illness. They just don't understand it, especially if it's not something it's not visible, like an autoimmune or something like that. So I have a lot of patients with chronic illness who feel very isolated and feel very low. So we always wanted Bleeding Kansas to be a place that people could come in and find others who would understand and have that empathy and have that compassion, and also understand why they need the medicine. Because beyond chronic illness, then trying to talk to your family about cannabis doesn't always go well for people either. So we always wanted Bleeding Kansas to be a place where people could find a family and become a family and find that support that they need. So unity, support, and that family was always a top priority. And here's why. Because as much as we've been able to accomplish in a short time, right, that has been because of that unity. That's been because of that family feeling and that support for one another. What we have to face ahead in the trenches and the battle we still have yet to go, the soldiers have to be united. They have to be, there has to be unity. We can't achieve it without it. And we're closer than ever before. Because everybody's been working their butts off. We have a long way to go, but we've come a long way, and people should be encouraged by that. So this is not the time for what we're seeing, which is this fracturing, which is this division that's happening, which is activists who've worked next to each other for years now turning on each other over an outside issue. And it doesn't need to be that way at all. So let me just make this really clear. Cannabis is a civil liberties movement. That's just what it is. It's a human rights and civil liberties movement. And it has always been that way. And one thing about, and it's a people-powered movement. We all help each other. Any of the board members, myself, any of you guys I know, you'll be contacted by somebody who's a family member just got arrested, and they use cannabis for migraines, and now, their kids have been taken. Or you'll get a call from someone else, an elderly man, I think it was, in another southern town, was growing to treat his cancer. He was arrested. We all get these emails. We all get these phone calls, even from people out of state whose loved ones are imprisoned in Kansas. This is a movement of compassion. We hear those stories, we activate, and we help. And we do what we can to help always, as much as people want us to, and whatever else, and as much as we're able to. That's part of the movement. It's an important part of the movement. Compassion is an important part of the movement. But the main focus is always pushing the cause forward. Always, always, always. It's got to be, what can we do next to educate Kansans, right, to the fact that 68% of them agree with medical cannabis. We just need them to stand up and say so. To the facts. We need to educate those who don't believe. We need to show them the research. We need to educate. We need to share the patient stories with the public. and do what we can. I just saw a new poll from Vox the other day that a large percentage of Americans don't even realize that cannabis is on Schedule 1. So we have a lot of work to do, really important work to do. We don't have time for division and infighting and people turning on each other. So again, civil liberties cause, right? Everybody's free to think what they want to think about anything. Anybody's free to support whoever they want to support. Anybody's free to express their ideas either way. So our thing is just be respectful. So, you know, let's just say it. If you're for Schwab, be for Schwab. It's America. If you're against Schwab, be against Schwab. It's America. All right? But respect each other's rights to be for and against whoever you want to be. Okay? It does not make you a better or lesser activist. It doesn't make you more for the cause or less for the cause. So let's please not have that ridiculousness. We just don't have time for that. The fact is, at the end of the day, whichever way that case ends up, they're going back to Colorado where their rights have been recognized. They're going back to freedom. We don't have that freedom here, and we cannot be distracted from the cause of that. The activists who were here way before this issue, fighting alongside each other so that we can win those same rights for our suffering and our dying, need to still be working together a year from now, side by side, furthering and advancing this cause, because that's what it'll take for us to have victory. Okay, so I don't really care. You have to understand, my whole big thing is I try to keep my foot out of anybody's cow patty, and that's just how I approach things. So if people keep, what's your opinion, I don't care. I don't have an opinion, because my job 24/7, from the minute my eyes open until I can't keep my eyes open anymore, 24/7 usually, well, not 24, I do take naps, but the board will tell you a lot of times that's literally all I take are naps. It's Bleeding Kansas. It's this cause. It's my patients. That's who I care about. I care about Autumn. I care about Gavin. I care about Tanner. I care about Jeffrey. I care about David and Sarah, and you know, all of our patients. Dwayne. You know, on and on. I can't name however many thousand there are of you now. Awesome. Blessing, by the way. But that's who I care about. That's who I'm thinking about. That's who our board is thinking about. Day in, day out, thinking about our patients. And that's what I'm asking you to do. Stay focused on the cause. Stay focused on the task at hand. Any side issue that you want to be involved in, either to support or work against, it's America. Congratulations. We're free people. Okay, I understand you want to have a conversation about that. And as much as we are free people, exercise your freedoms. I celebrate the right of free speech. So do it. But do not sacrifice the unity that's needed for the cause. Remember what it is that we're fighting for. And even though you never met Mary, okay, maybe there's someone else in your life who passed, who you know cannabis could have helped. Cannabis could have at least eased their suffering. They died a painful death. They didn't need to die. Maybe you know someone who didn't have to die at all if they would have had this medicine. That's what we are supposed to be focused on. That's what we have to, that's what we need to accomplish in their name, for them. We owe them that. I know I owe Mary that. So what I'm asking you is stay focused on the cause at hand, because there's much work to do ahead. There's more work to do now than any of us can handle. We need more volunteers. We need more people to get involved. And this dissension and divisiveness has no place in a movement that's going to be successful. This is the stuff that kills movements. This divisiveness, this infighting, this turning on one another. And we can't tolerate it. It cannot be tolerated. You're free to think, free to speak, free to support whoever you want, free to not support, free to speak against whoever you want to. Do not belittle, demean anyone else. No one is less or more an activist. No one is less or more in this cause because they want to take one side or another of this issue. So do not let it take you away from the cause, and don't let it don't take it out on each other because you don't agree. Okay? And so that's really what I wanted to talk to you about that. Also, coming ahead, we have to defeat the 489 amendments. And that's really what, as the cause goes, that I need you to focus on. These are the issues. I'm going to give you the issues now that we really need you to focus on. This is where we really need you to put your energy, okay? Because at the end of the day, one way or the other, you can't do anything about Raymond Schwab's case. You can't. It's not in your hands. It's in the courts. So you can share your support. You can share your, I don't know, anti-support, your non-support. I don't know. You can do that all day long because it's a free country. But you have to ask yourself, what's that going to do to advance the cause in Kansas, really? And where right now we have action items that we need you to be taking action on right now to save children in Kansas right now. And one of those is the 489 amendments that are coming up. Now, you know Melissa, you know Chris, you know Tracy, you know Sandy, you know these other moms, and they're already ordering the CBD only medicine online, federally legal. If these 489 amendments go through, they will lose their ability to order that medicine online. And so even though Gavin is still having 100 seizures a day, that's still less than 200 seizures a day. You know, whatever cognitive and developmental benefit that they're getting from CB now, that, you know, that will be lost. Kansas wants to put another barrier in front of them where they'd have to buy a medical card and they'd have to pay fees and expenses. Can I just tell you how much these parents have to struggle already to afford this medicine that they buy online every month because it's not covered by insurance? I mean, that's ridiculous. And now Kansas wants to come along and put more expense on this for these parents? We cannot let that happen, because just even by expense alone, it's going to take the medicine out of their hands. We can't let that happen. The next thing we have coming up that we really need people to talk about is elections. In your district right now, there are these things called precinct chairs. The last date you can file for these is June 1st. There's no filing fee. You can run for election, and this is how this goes. You don't really have to do anything but meet once a quarter. But if somebody in that legislature dies or has to step aside for some reason, it's the precinct chairs who vote and decide who takes that chair. So that's why those are so very important. Also, there are less polling places in every county in Kansas. Because of the budget cutbacks on schools can't afford to be open to be polling places. So there's going to be less polling places. So we need everybody to be getting to apply for advanced ballots. That's super important. And you can be doing that right now. And you have to do that for the primary and for the elections as well. And we need you to tell everybody. In Johnson County alone, we're dealing with 100 less polling places. That's thousands of voters that are going to be affected. That's the important stuff that we need to be focusing on, because these next elections will be not only the future for our bill and for patients, but the future for Kansas. It's super important. We need to focus on Kansas patients, focus on Kansas law. And so that's basically what I want to tell you. These are the kind of issues that we need to be working on and need to be focusing on. And nothing can impede our progress for patients more than division. It just cannot happen. We have very critical, important things that we need to be working on. I need you to get active in your local area. I don't care if you join Women for Kansas or Move On or Mainstream Coalition, or maybe you're a Democrat, join True Blue Women, or I don't know, maybe you're a lawyer, join up with sorry, Hashimoto's moment. I keep wanting to say UCLA. It's not UCLA. Whatever, the lawyer group, the civil rights lawyer group. So there's things in your area that you need to join and be part of, like right now, that you could be doing, and join those and get involved on your local political level and on and find out what you can do. Also, consider running for office. Consider approaching somebody you respect in the community to run for office who maybe is not considering it. Maybe your pastor would be a good representative. Maybe your rabbi would be. Maybe your friend that owns a business is a great businessman and a man of great integrity or a woman of great integrity, and you think they'd be great. We need to be focusing on the future, and the future comes by the work that we have to do right now. And that work is so imperative and so important, and we cannot afford to have any division. So I'm asking for the compassion that makes this community so special to keep going, but to have it for each other and to stand beside each other in this fight and keep focused on the cause. Thank you.